Hi, I want to take a minute to talk about how to package your file. When you finish a design layout in InDesign and need to submit it either to another designer to work on, or possibly to a commercial printer, you will likely need to package your file. Packaging your file is asking InDesign to help you collect all the components, all the support materials that are needed to display and print this file correctly. So before I actually do my packaging, I like to check two things. One, I need to make sure all my links are up to date and accessible. This particular layout only has one graphic. It's a photograph that I've altered in Photoshop, and I can see it here in my links tab where it says demomoonyellow.tiff. Right? Remember that all of our graphics that we place into print layouts should probably be TIFF files. We don't want to be saving lots of JPEGs over and over and losing quality. So remember that TIFF is your lossless file type. So I found this on the internet. I opened it up in Photoshop and worked on it a little bit, and then saved it as a TIFF file. Now, I can check that this is actually linked and accessible and updated because I see that there are no little icons next to it. There are two possibilities. You might see a little yellow triangle. That would tell you that you've made a change in this file, but that change is not visible here. So let's say I went back to Photoshop and changed this, but forgot to update my link. If that's the case, you'll see a little yellow triangle here. Double click on it. Just tell it you want to update to the most recent version and confirm that it looks appropriate, that it looks as expected in your layout. If you have a red stop sign here, that means that link is missing. It does not know where to find that image. You are going to need to relink your file. When you click on the name of the graphic, you can come down here and choose to update the link or relink using the chain link icon at the bottom here. Relink will take you to a window where you can go and find the appropriate file, okay? Again, once you relink, look at your layout. Double check that it looks the way you're expecting. If all your links look good, the other thing that we want to double check are our fonts. Now, the package process is also going to do this, but right away, when I'm looking at my layout, if I see any text highlighted in pink, then I know that font is missing. InDesign doesn't know where to find that font or how to apply it. So if you see any pink highlights, check that text. So you can take your text tool, highlight the text, check out what font is being applied and what font style. If you see brackets around the font in the character menu, so I'm over here in the properties tab, I look at the character name. If I see brackets around this, that's probably telling me that that font is what's applied, but it's not actually what's showing here because InDesign can't find the font. In that case, you're going to have to choose a different font or reinstall the font that you wanted. All right, with those things checked, I'm ready to package. So I will go to the File menu. The Package command is near the bottom. Let's see. What I'm looking for in the summary here is anything that's a warning, usually like these yellow triangles here, and double checking that those are things that either don't matter to me or that I need to go fix. So for instance, the first thing listed here is fonts. It says I've used 7 fonts. None of them are missing, embedded, incomplete, or protected. So I'm good to go. In links and images, I have a little triangle here, the little warning sign that's telling me, check this out. There is one thing we are not sure about. It found my one link. That's my one image. There are none that are modified or missing. That's good, or inaccessible or embedded. We don't want any embedded images, but it does use RGB color space. This is not going to be critical in this moment for this assignment, but if you're printing a file at a commercial printer that uses CMYK printing, you are going to want to cancel now, go back to Photoshop, and convert the color space to CMYK. In the case of our layouts for our posters this week, no big deal. I'm going to go ahead and package this with my RGB image there. The third thing that it's checking is colors and inks. There were no limits on the colors you could use in this project, so there's no limits on the number of inks. You probably will see 4 process inks. If you use a Pantone color or spot ink in your graphic, so maybe you've created your illustration in Illustrator and you're importing a vector graphic or placing a vector graphic into your file, you might see spot inks. That's okay. But there are no limits, and this is not giving me any warning signs, so nothing to check. The last 2 things, external plugins, and then there's a variety of things at the bottom here. We can pretty much ignore those. There's rarely going to be a case where you need an external plugin, and the only other one that is like worth looking at, but not going to matter for this particular assignment, is non-opaque objects. If you've used transparency is hard to print sometimes, and it may not print as expected. So it's going to tell you that it's finding non-transparent or non-opaque items, that you have something that has transparency. All right, for any of these that we want to dig deeper, there are these tabs on the left. So if I wanted to look more at my links and images, for example, because that's where I got my warning sign, I can come here and I will see each of my links with information, very specific information about the type of file, color profiles, and whatnot. Okay. Now, if all looks good, I'm going to go ahead and package. All right. When I click package, what I'm really doing is creating a folder, and I'm asking InDesign to copy or place a variety of files into that folder so that everything I need is together. I'm going to save this to my theater poster folder where my other components are. This is where my file and my graphics and everything that I've used for this project are. Give it a meaningful name. The name of your folder is what's going to be seen by the person receiving your file. So I'm going to put my last name here and the name of my file. At the bottom, there's a variety of things that you can check or uncheck to include. The default should be 5 things, and these are things that you definitely want to include. You want to copy the fonts. That's going to take those font files and place them in that folder. You want to copy the linked graphics. So in my case, my 1-tip file is going to get copied and placed in that folder. I do want to update my graphic links in the package. So the copy of my InDesign file that's going to go into this folder, the link is going to point to the version of this graphic that's in the folder with it. It's going to keep all of that sort of contained. I don't need these next 2, but the last 2 are really helpful. One is to include the IDML file. If you are sending your layout, your package, to somebody who might be running a different version of InDesign than you are, always include the IDML. There's no reason not to, in fact. I would just say always include it, can't hurt. And the last item here is a PDF. The benefit of having a PDF created and placed into this folder is that anyone without InDesign can preview that PDF and know what this layout is supposed to be. So I always include the PDF. At the very least, it's a backup. If for some reason something goes wrong with the other file, PDFs are generally printable. And so the printer can handle your request via that PDF sometimes. The PDF preset, the default is going to be high quality print. And for us, that's fine. If you're sending it to a commercial printer, they may ask you to include a PDF of a different type, usually one of these PDFX file formats. All right. So with those 5 things clicked and my folder selected and my name updated, I am going to click package. Now note, you're going to get a warning. This is a warning to explain that fonts are copyrighted. They cannot be copied and shared willy-nilly. You have to have purpose. Some fonts also have are are locked and have restrictions on them. Anyway, this is just to tell you all of that. You can click Don't Show Again if you don't want to see that, and then click OK. And that's that. My file is packaged, but you're not 100% done yet. I need to go out and find that file. So let's go to my demo folder. I need to find the place where I've saved this. In my case, it's in my theater poster folder. And I can see here, Van Wagner, you can't see the whole thing, but poster typography demo. Let's look inside. Inside this folder, I have a few different things. I have my InDesign file, .indd. I have the IDML file. Both of those will have the same name, different extensions. I also have the PDF, right? That's my preview PDF. I have two folders. One folder includes all the fonts that I've used, and one includes the links. Okay. I will point out in the fonts that there is an extra font in here that I haven't used in my layout. I stuck to Bodoni and Gil Sans in my layout, but Minion Pro is the default in InDesign. And if you have a space someplace that is still Minion Pro, you will see that here. Or if you have text outside of your layout sitting on the pasteboard, you will see Minion Pro here. You can delete all of that and update those to your current fonts if you want before you package, but not really going to cause any harm to have that here. So our last step in order to submit this to Blackboard or to email it to somebody, or even a good idea if you're going to be uploading it to a cloud server, zip your file. So on the Mac, I'm going to Control-click on my folder, and I'm going to look for where it says compress. Compress is the command that tells it to make a single zip file. This is like a contained file. Think of it as like a box with a string tied around it or taped shut with everything inside. When I do that, it's going to take a moment. It's looking through all of that. Open another window here. But right below my folder now, I have a zip file of the same name, but with .zip extension. When the user receives the zip file, they can double click this, it will open up, it will have all the folders and files and everything that you had in your package folder inside the zip file. On a PC, you're gonna right click to get to that. It's in your pop-up menu that should appear. I think the wording is slightly different. This zip file is the one file that you will upload to Blackboard for your assignment this week.